jump in. The big rocks have to be done in some order. You can't begin quality testing before you even started the site. Very obvious, but that's it. And what this ends up forming is sort of a sawtooth thing. And what I mean by the sawtooth here is that we expect that we should be able, theoretically, some sort of bell-shaped curve that says, here's the due date for whatever that feature is or whatever that aspect of the project is, and it should be bell-shaped. What, in fact, we are finding out as we do project management in our projects, it's a step function. We have this suddenly, okay, now we can do it. Why? Because a big rock happened. A big rock that should have been done earlier, a piece that somebody else is working on. It suddenly, now goes from totally unable to do it, to fully able to do it, and then our ability then to fulfill is somewhere in here. That tends to push projects back as well. Finally, does the size of your team overcome your work priorities? Or putting it another way, if we're estimating a project, what's the optimum team to do the estimation? Well, it can be between this and this. And in this example, which is just a qualitative thing, we're saying that 8 and 10 people can estimate a project. 1 or 2 people would have more trouble. 8 or 10 can do better project estimation. But then we get too many people involved and our efficiency falls off. Same with building a site. 1 or 2 people can build a site. At one point, the team just becomes too large. We're spending more time talking to each other than working on the project. We're taking too much time to talk to each other than talking to the client. We're talking to the client but not doing coding. Bigger clients want to talk more. We have official people who just talk to clients and then they talk to the team. We've got 2 on our team and they're very good at it. And they keep them down to 15 minutes. I'll talk to you. Today's your free 15 minutes to talk to me. If you want to talk more, it's going to cost you. If you need to talk to a coder, that goes on the clock. And we get very good at being very precise. They know they only have 15 minutes. They don't spend a lot of time philosophizing. We had one time that, I won't mention the client, but the client was home on the East Coast, and we were talking, and a bottle of wine opened on the East Coast, and the guy got more and more saying more things and more philosophical, nothing bad, but he just liked to talk. And 2 hours later, the 2 people in the room realized they burned 4 hours out of the entire project just taking that information in. So our people say 15 minutes, that's it. After that, we're charging you. So, what does this all mean? Well, let's sum up. Is there an absolute correct project way? Can we estimate exactly what the right steps are? Can we come up with the absolute total positive possible way and come out with how we're going to do something? And we look here at U.S. Grant from the American Civil War, who was going to fight Bobby Lee. He didn't sit down and give a detailed plan to President Lincoln and saying, all right, well, with this fixed bid, be able to beat Robert E. Lee, and I've got all these minute steps that I'm going to take. He didn't. He used an agile process. And we go to the next general who used Grant's process, but what this other general, George Patton, we've all seen the movie Patton, I think, the big flag where he comes up and speaks in front of the troops. Everybody's seen that movie, nobody's seen it. Okay. Well, what he says, Patton says to his man is, we're going to grab him by the nose and we're going to kick him in the ass. He's talking about the enemy. Well, that's what Grant did. That was his plan. That was as simple as that. He just engaged his enemy and kept engaging and engaging and engaging. He wouldn't let go until Lee got tired and stopped. That's what Patton did. His maxim is, a good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. This is a bad plan, half-baked plan, ill-thought-out plan, a good plan. Always the plan can be better. At one point, you have to move. Dwight Eisenhower became president of the United States, as did Grant. Grant was 18th, I think. Eisenhower was what, the 30th? 30th, anyway, he became president, and he was the architect of D-Day. We just celebrated the, what was it, the 60th anniversary of D-Day, 64th? Anyway, he said, all plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. Meaning that at the end of it, go back, and we do this at Ping Vision, and we're doing it especially after a recent, very large project. We're going to go back and say, here's what we thought this thing was going to be. Here was our first iteration, and we found out this, and then we found out this, and then we found out this. And it's an interesting factor. And we'll find out the plan was wrong, that planning was indispensable. If we had not planned at all, we would have not succeeded. Our success was taking the plan we had and moving it to the final release of the product that the client wanted. Or getting a little more closer to home for all of us, Julie Childs. Your master plan, your kitchen, your oven, and dozens of other factors. And that's what it's going to take. That's my view. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Comments?
How did you handle, when you guys were a small shop, how did you handle when projects got too big? Like, what was some of the things that worked best for you when there was only like one, 2 or 3 of you?